All right, so I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I am a huge fan of you, and so I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, and so for the first part, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Sure. Well, my name's Jonathan Burns. I do a lot of different things. I started as a magician as when I was a teenager, and then I got into other tricks. I was always bendy, so I started doing contortion, and I was really into sideshow. So I learned all kinds of crazy stuff like nailing nails into my face and eating fire and walking on glass, and eventually. One time I burnt my lip eating fire and decided I should write more jokes. So then I added a lot more comedy into the act. So now I do a kind of a crazy variety show that has taken me all over the world. And like this past week, I was just in Switzerland. Where else? I was in Portugal, London in the UK, and in Spain. So it's one of those things that I started when I was about 12 doing magic tricks, and I've never had to get a real job ever since then.
That's awesome. And so, what got you into magic when you were 12?
Well, we were just talking about magic on TV and seeing me on TV. It was really that. Like I would watch the David Copperfield specials that came out, and then they used to have these things called World's Greatest Magic specials that were out every Thanksgiving. So my whole family would gather in the living room and watch football, and they were like really into football. And I was like, I'm gonna go to my grandmother's bedroom and watch. I watched these World's Greatest Magic specials on a much smaller TV in her room. But there was like a lot of magicians that aren't necessarily household names. You may know them because you're into magic, but like people like David Williamson and Jeff McBride and Jeff Hobson, who are like amongst magicians, like the best of the best. Matt King, who's a headliner in Las Vegas. So I really looked up to those guys. I was like, I think this is what I want to do for a living. And that's kind of what was really my launching point. So I learned a few tricks. Someone asked me to do their birthday party, and then, now 30 years later, I'm still doing it.
That's great. And so, you've been on Penn and Teller and AGT, and so what were the audition processes like for those shows? Because they're both two different types. One's specifically for magic, and the one's for all sorts of talent.
Yeah. So with AGT, well, at first I had a lot of friends who had done the show, and I wasn't sure if they had a wide variety of experiences. Some people did really well, other people the judges did not like, and they got buzzed off immediately. So I was a little worried, like, oh no, like usually when I perform my act for an audience, they laugh or they don't, and that's that's all we have to deal with it. The audience isn't given large red buzzers or anything like
Yeah.
that, so it really changes the dynamic of what you're doing. So the first Got Talent show that I did was in France. So I went to France's Got Talent. I had sent them a contortion act that I performed on stages all over the place, and I did it there, and it went really well. So then I was like, well, maybe I should do America's Got Talent. So I reached out to them, sent them some things. They wanted me to come and be part of the show. And luckily, the first I was on I was on this past season on America's Got Talent, but I was also on a few years prior with the contortion act. So my act ended up opening the entire season that year, where Terry Crews rolled me out in a suitcase. I crawled out of a suitcase and did my act, which was really fun. So it was cool to be asked to be like the kind of the face of the show and stuff like that. So yeah, for that, like it was really just. I was really nervous about doing it, but after I was really happy that I did afterwards. And then with Penn and Teller, it was sort of the same thing. I had some friends who had done it. I reached out to them, and I think they liked that I was doing something different. It wasn't just another coin trick or another card trick or even a big illusion or whatever. I was playing with cheese
Yeah.
and doing something that was really unique in the magic world. So I took an old magic trick and then I turned it into something different that they had never seen before. So me doing the cheese act on there was really, yeah, it's been really great because almost 10 million people on my YouTube have seen it. So it's one of the things that I get recognized for the most when I'm out and about. Like, you're the cheese guy, So which is I'm totally fine. I am lactose intolerant, but besides that, I'm totally fine with it.
That's great. Did you also perform the couch trick on Penn and Teller, or was that just
I
AGT?
did. So yeah, when I came back a few seasons later, so I did the cheese trick, and then I was actually on another special they had called try this at home. It was during the pandemic. They did like an at home special. So I was on there. I did a trick with my family. It was a trick with crackers and a mind reading cracker trick. So you can check that out on YouTube as well and
You
learn
really
learn.
like food tricks then.
I do have a food thing. My mom was a dietitian and my dad sold Twinkies. So I think there's a lot of food talk in my
Yeah.
house. And actually I'm working on something right now with candy that I'm hoping to do a video this week with. So I just went out today and bought a bunch of candy trying to work on a new trick with that. So I do love food. I mean I'm not I'm you can probably tell from this body, you know.
That's great. And so, is there a certain trick that you enjoy performing a lot? And then is there a certain trick that is kind of hard to perform?
Yeah, you know what? They're all different. Like sometimes like a routine will come to you in like a wave. So sometimes like things will just come to me and it all falls into place and I just do it as is. And it's that is very rare. Like I have a few things that I do in my act that are like that. But most of the other things just come from trial and error. I've performed some of these routines thousands of times, so I sort of know them inside and out. So sometimes breaking in a new routine is so difficult. Like you don't know until you put it in front of an audience what they're going to do and how they're going to react. I was doing I came up with a routine with toilet paper, and it was funny. It was a magic act that I most of my magic is very silly and doesn't always go according to plan. Or um, I'm not David Copperfield. I'm not smooth and mysterious and amazing. It's more about getting laughs and being silly. So I did a trick with toilet paper where I strung a piece of toilet paper across the stage. I stood in front of it and then I pulled it through my body, like right through my midsection. It looks like it slices me in half. And the whole audience went, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like I was like, I'm so used to getting a laugh. So that was the first time I did it, and I couldn't believe like I had fooled the whole audience, and they just all sucked in air, and I had to figure out what to do. So the next time I learned, okay, this is how I can get a laugh with it and be amazing. So now I do it in my act, and it's kind of an ever evolving thing. I have new parts to it that I keep want to add in and make it even more amazing and hopefully more entertaining for the people watching me.
That's awesome. And so, what is your method to creating a new trick? Obviously, a lot of magicians have different methods. And so, what is your particular method that you use to create a new trick?
You know, it's a lot of trial and error. Like I write down like any idea I have in my notebook. So like I keep a notebook either on the notes of my phone or just writing notes to myself, or I have notebooks in my backpack or whatever. So like, I'm looking at my desk right now. There's like lots of like different ideas and notes everywhere. So all the ideas I have, they're not always great. So there's plenty of stuff that doesn't ever make it to the stage, but the fact that I write it down means I won't forget it. So I think that was like a huge part of me trying to be creative and do something that was unique just to me, is just to kind of keep a catalog of all my ideas. So sometimes there's like a little something in a trick, even if it's not um, gonna happen that exact way. I can come back to it and I look through old notes and try to find new ideas. So I think that's kind of it's sort of a long process, but sometimes when you're thinking about something or working on something, even uh, I notice like if I turn off podcasts, not this pod, keep listening to this podcast, of course, but if I turn off the podcast, just kind of have some silence, go on a walk, sometimes in the shower, or I'm driving without music or whatever, like that's when my brain is like putting these things together. And it's sort of a magical thing. I think the more you do it, the faster the process gets. So when I first started, it would take years to get a routine down. Where now, like I feel like if I focus on it in a couple of days, I can come with like the basic idea of something. And I feel like I always work well with a it's hard. Like you're in school, so like you get an assignment, and it's like, here we need you to do this, and it needs to follow this rubric. For me now, like that when in school, like that was always nice because I knew what was expected. And now, like with a lot of that stuff, there's not it's all self-assignment. So I've been trying to do that more of like, hey, I want to work on something with milk, or I want to work on something more food. I want to work on something with balloons or whatever it is, and then I'll just sort of like free write and just think about these are all the things I could do with balloons. These are all the things I could do with milk, or maybe milk and balloons, whatever. Like it's just trying to force the creativity a little bit, and sometimes some fun stuff comes out of that, which is nice.
That's awesome. And so, as a comedic magician, do you have a favorite prop that you use in your routines?
I love everyday objects. Like there's something about that. Like I mean, when I remember going to a magic shop when I was a kid, and it would be like these boxes, and they would have weird Chinese symbols on them, or they there would be like glitter, or like it just didn't look like anything in real life, you know.
The
So
Chinese
I
symbols for sure.
yeah,
I'm
exactly. There's
walking
always
in
some
one in
sort of
Chicago. I'm like, what?
yeah, so the mystery box from China. Like it seems
Yeah.
exotic, I guess. I'm not sure. Or like yeah, like I have uh some stuff over here too, like a dove. This is a like a magic prop dove pan, but it doesn't look like it could easily look like an actual pan that you would use in the thing, but now it looks like some sort of strange urn. So like I love when things look like it's like something that people have held before and they understand. Because I feel like that makes it even more amazing. So I most of my act is that really like I could go to Target and buy a lot of the stuff that I use. I don't use a lot of like store-bought props or whatever. So I try to that's kind of my favorite thing to do is just kind of look out in the world and find those things that I can make magical or funny in a unique way.
That's great. And so, what advice would you give to your younger self if you could go back in time?
If I could go back in time, oh man, well, let's see. Invest in Apple. No, no. I would, I would. I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is like this is always what I dreamed to do, and it's actually taken me further than I ever thought possible. So like I'm it's weird. Like my parents, I was talking to them recently, and they were like, "Did you ever think all this was going to happen?" And I was like, like it was really just me just saying yes to a lot of things. So that I guess if like sometimes people ask me what my advice is for like a starting performer, is I usually just tell them get on stage as much as possible, which is what I did. Like when I started off, I did birthday parties, church events, retirement homes, wherever that I could get on stage. And then I eventually started street performing when I was in college, and that like that was the first time I could do shows and people could leave. So like they had the choice to stay. So then I had to like convince them that I was good enough to let them stay, and I had to get better so they would, or I'd make no money and it would and I'd just feel embarrassed. So I that made me better. So like I kind of performed on every kind of stage. I've done, I've performed in basketball arenas for halftime shows for 20,000 people. I've done shows for like two people at a table doing magic. I've done shows where only five people showed up or whatever. So like I've been in kind of every scenario in a living room. I've been on the stage. I've been in a yard. I've been on the street, whatever. So like I think all of those experiences have just made me a stronger performer and kind of I've failed and succeeded in all these different places and learned how to succeed a lot more.
That's great. And so, you kind of answered the next question, but what advice would you give to younger kids who want to do magic as a profession?
Yeah, I mean that's sorry, I'm gonna turn off do not disturb. I'm getting a lot of political text messages right now. They all want me to donate. It's every 2 minutes. I know you're not a voting age yet, but you'll see very soon. Um, give the advice, I think it really is. It's get on stage, do it as much as you can. I mean, if you really love doing this, like it's not about I kind of never made it about money or fame or anything like that. It was always just about making people laugh and making them feel good, and in turn you get the same thing out of it, which is really fun. So I just like when I can create something that people have never seen before and just surprise them and make them have a good time.
That's great. And so, you've traveled and performed at a lot of places around the world. So, what has been a couple of your favorite places to perform and why?
Well, this past summer, I got to work in Paris for 2 months. I was performing at an adult cabaret called The Crazy Horse, which is actually been host to a lot of different like variety performers from all over the world. So there's the show is a lot of like dancing and music and things like that. But the I'm sort of the comedy relief in the show, so that was super fun to just be in Paris for 2 months, and I just it's just a fantastic place. And my family got to come too. So I have two daughters who are 8 and 11, and my wife's a teacher. She's off for the summers, so we all got to travel together and just made some really great memories. The other thing is I work on cruise ships now. I work with Disney Cruise Lines, so I headline on their ships, which is also really fun. Really fun audiences who love entertainment, so they want to come out, they want to have a good time. So that's been really fun too. It's kind of a cool way to see the world, and it's like your hotel moves, but like you're in the same hotel, but it just moves every night to a different location. So that's been a cool opportunity to see the world and perform on these really fantastic stages all over the place.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so this next question kind of ties into the last one, but what are some places that you hope to perform in the future?
Well, I don't know. Like I want to see. I love to travel too, so that's a huge perk of what I do. So it's like nice to get to see. I get invited to go nice places. So I love. I've performed in Europe a lot, so I'd love to see. Like I haven't performed in Italy yet. I would love to do that. Would love to go to Australia. I've been to New Zealand. I worked at a festival there a number of years ago, but yeah, there's I would love to see Australia and more of like South America and things like that. So there's like I think that's just a cool part of it's like I like getting invited all these different places just because it gives me a chance to see the world, experience new places, but also even new audiences. It's like another challenge, I think. It's another not the same jokes don't go over the same here as they do other places, or you have to figure out ways to communicate if you don't speak the language. So that's always it's a fun challenge that I'm always up for. It kind of keeps me on my toes and keeps me creating.
Yeah, for sure. Have you performed at the Chicago Magic Lounge before?
I have. I love that place. You're
Yeah.
nearby, right?
Yeah, I've been there once. I went back in February.
Cool.
Uh,
Who did you see?
Eric Leclerc was headlining.
Okay, nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
so it was him and then Peter. I can't remember his last name, but Peter was the
Oh,
654 Club.
oh, okay. Samuelson.
Yep.
Yeah, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Out of New
So
York, yeah.
yeah,
And then Eric's from Canada, is that right?
yeah. So
Yes,
he was
very
there for
cool.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. No, that's such a great place. I mean, yeah, if you're into magic, like it's everyone wants to work there because it's such a beautiful place and audiences are so fun and they're like ready to have a good time. So I really like it there because I again my magic's not they're seeing all this mind-blowing magic all night and my
Yeah.
magic is not mind-blowing. It's
You're
more
kind of like, hey, I'm here.
yeah, exactly. But they're ready for it because they want to laugh and they want to have a good time. So it's kind of a nice change of pace. But I have been like from my run on AGT and doing stuff more magic for that. Like I've sort of kind of fell back in love with magic. I there's a little bit of time. I did it a lot as when I was a teenager, and then just became more about comedy, comedy, comedy. So like over the past few weeks on my Instagram, I've been doing this magic challenge with Blake Voigt and Nick Paul, who are great magicians out of Los Angeles.
Blake's
And
awesome. I actually had him on my podcast a couple months ago.
oh, how great!
Yeah.
Blake or Nick?
Blake.
Blake, yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like
awesome.
he's one of those guys that he inspires me. Like I see what he's doing, and I'm just like, he's got such a magic brain. Like I see the world in jokes a lot of the time, so I'm like always looking for jokes and trying to find what's funny about a situation. And I think he really sees the world in magic. He's like, oh, I could do this trick with this, or I could. What if this happened with this? And he's just yeah, brilliant, and every magician is just jealous of
Yeah.
his knowledge and skill. It's so great.
Speaking of my interview with Blake, if you guys want to watch that, just click up here. Cool interview too. So yeah, up there somewhere. Uh,
Somewhere in that.
but
In that.
that actually wraps up the interview today. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
Out of
Yeah.
all of Houdini's acts, this is my favorite. hands down. The straitjacket, invented in the late 18th century to cure anxiety and depression. Luckily, it works so well, people no longer suffer from these afflictions. Tonight, I'll be attempting to free myself from these restraints while being placed in the most painful torture device known to man, the sleeper sofa. Oh yeah, Terry Crews, yeah. Yeah. Clap for him because I can't. Terry, this is where the magic happens. In a moment, you're gonna place me inside the sleeper sofa, fold it up, and reset the cushions. I will have 47 seconds to free myself before I run out of air. Kids, please do not attempt this at home with your straitjacket. All right, Terry, are you ready? No time for a story.
Yeah.
Just tuck me in.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, wait, Terry,
Yeah,
wait, sorry. Could you grab my glasses? You can put them on the chair over there. Sorry, don't want to break them. Thank you.
Where do you want them?
Just one on the chair is fine. Or on the side of the chair.
Right
Yeah.
here? Right here?
That's great. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you.
Okay,
All right, Terry, are you ready?
I'm ready.
America, are you ready? All right. Start the timer. Fold me. Fold me.
Okay.
Terry, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you.
Good. Quick. Grab the cushion on your right and put it on the couch.
On the right.
Okay. Now there's 2 more cushions on your left. Grab those and put them on.
Okay.
Are you good?
Okay.
Are you good?
Yep. And there you go.
Okay. Great. Take a seat in your chair and watch the magic.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa. There's stuff in here. Oh, hey, money. I guess it's because it's the quarterfinals. Get it? Okay, quick. Which hand, Terry? Which hand?
Oh, okay. All right.
Terry, how much time is left?
Really? No time left. No time left.
Terry, tell my family that I love them. Okay, over the couch.
Okay.
Terry, get me out of here. Over the couch.
Yeah. All right. Opening the couch. And oh.